Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm the sewing specialist at Fons & Porter. In this Sew Easy tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the wing clipper tool to make really precise patchwork. Now you can see the quilt behind me has a lot of triangles in it that are in Flying Geese units. And in order to make dozens of them be precise and beautiful as this quilt is, we're using a tool that can help us create those Flying Geese units. And it's the wing clipper tool like this, and there are actually two of them. There's the wing clipper and the wing clipper 2. They're created, these finish either on the even inch or the half inch. The second tool then came out for those that finish on a 1/4 or 3/4 inch. So depending on the size of your finished block, you can select the correct tool to create these. So we're going to go ahead and get into how to make the Flying Geese and then how that tool helps us make them precise. Now a lot of you have seen Flying Geese 4 at a time, and that's what we're going to be presenting today, but then there's a little bit of a twist to make these really accurate. It'd be a great time to use this tool when you're maybe doing a block exchange, or maybe you've not quite advanced in your piecing skills yet and things are always just a little bit off. This will get you really accurate piecing. So what we do is we start with a large square and 4 smaller ones. Here you'll see that they're all 4 different fabrics, because when we get done, our Flying Geese, the outer triangles are going to be different fabrics. Sometimes we create these with 4 small squares of all one print, and then the Flying Geese will have the same fabrics in the outer corners. This one is going to be a more scrappy version, and they'll all be different. So what we do is start with a large square of fabric. Then we take the back side of each of our small triangles, or squares, I'm sorry, and we're going to mark them. We're going to be using, you can use a 1/4 inch seam marker like this, and what we do is place the yellow line corner to corner across the block, and the tool is 1/2 inch wide, so that when I mark each outer edge like this, then I get precise stitching lines that will go across my block. Now, what we're going to do is just take 2 of these, start with the red and the gold one, and we're going to place those diagonally across the larger square. And you'll notice I am not putting them all the way to the outer corner. I'm leaving them slid just a little bit to the inside, about maybe 1/8 of an inch. These have been all oversized. Now the tool and our instructions will tell you the sizings to cut when you're using the wing clipper, but they're oversized just a tiny bit so we can go back later to trim. So we're going to position like this, our pieces. Now we're going to be stitching on the drawn lines, and I have one ready to go to show you that indeed then we do stitch all the way across, and they do overlap in the center. If you've placed them and they overlap, that's correct. So you want them to overlap like this. Then you're going to take these pieces and you're going to be cutting across the block. Let me find a ruler here. I guess I can use my tool. This is a straight edge also. And you will then just cut down between the stitched lines, the lock off, safety first. And if you've seen the 4 at a time Flying Geese, there's that step. Then you go in and press the triangles outward away from the center, and you'll have pieces that look like this. Sometimes people say these look like kind of like a fox or a heart shape at this point. Now we've used 2 of our small squares. Now we need to use number 3 and 4. So we take these pieces and add block 3 and 4 like this. See, these have also been marked with our 1/4 inch seam marker. And remember how we scooted them towards the center? Well, this time we're going to scoot the pieces just a little bit, so leaving a little bit of that large square to show right there. And now, then we would go ahead then and stitch across the blocks just like this. Very similar to how we do 4 at a time Flying Geese, but again remembering that they're moved in just a little bit. And then we would go ahead and cut them again. And you cut right down between your stitched lines on both of them. Great way to produce the scrappy flying geese. So now when we open up, we'll have a brown and a red, a brown and an orange or gold, a blue and a red, and a blue and gold. So then when we get done pressing them all, we will have created 4 blocks that look like this. And you can see all the dog ears are hanging out. They need to be trimmed up. So this is a point where we can come in with a tool and make really sweet blocks. Okay. Now this tool had a variety of lines on it. You need to be able to follow the size that you want to have your blocks finished. And in this case, they're a 4.5-inch block that I want to have my block finished to. And there are V lines that you can then line up with the seam between your smaller, the triangles and the large centerpiece. So I'm going to line that up perfectly, and you can see there's just a little bit to trim off on 2 sides. This is usually the place when we've been making these types of blocks that they get a little distorted as we're pressing. And then when we try to put everything together, we're like, oh, I'm off just a little. Well, you won't be anymore. So we can raise the tool up. Don't reposition the tool, but just reposition your block. Lay it back down. Again, follow your 4.5 line, for example, for this block. And there's a cross hatch along there that will fit into that intersection, that V in your block. And you can see again, then there's just a little piece on each side to trim away. And it's not much waste, but much improved, making our blocks perfect every time. The wing clipper tool is available on our website, and for more of our video tutorials, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.